The August shooting at a Sikh temple in Wisconsin left 6 people dead, shaking the town of Oak Creek and the nation. But now, here in Washington, leaders from both the Jewish and Sikh communities are forging a new bond in mutual support and solidarity. From his home in suburban Washington, Dr. Rajwant Singh reads from the Guru Granth Sahib, a 1,400-page book that forms the core of Sikh scripture. Singh is a practicing dentist and chairman of the Sikh Council on Religion and Education. Since the Oak Creek shooting, he's been overwhelmed by the Washington Jewish community's outpouring of support.
People have come together to embrace our community in the spirit of love and kindness and brotherhood. And we are really touched by when we had our first Candlelight Vigil in Washington, D.C. Several members of the Jewish community congregation, which is next door to our Gurdwara in Rockville, came.
Besides myself, there are other important leaders of our local Jewish community present.
That evening, flanked by rabbis from around metropolitan Washington, Rabbi Jack Luxembourg offered a prayer of condolence.
From the Jewish community that surrounds this wonderful Sikh community, we say, Hamakom inachem. May God, in whose presence we all find ourselves, bring you comfort and peace.
Candlelight vigils like these sprang up around the country in the weeks following the shooting, and Jewish community organizations have joined the chorus of interfaith voices calling for a stop to the hate.
Someone who looks different isn't a threat.
Benjamin Swarato is a spokesman for the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, an umbrella group for Jewish community organizations. He says a common history of persecution gives Jewish people a unique insight into this tragedy.
I remember very young when my temple was burned down. I remember my first bomb scare in kindergarten at Hebrew school. You're too young to experience such awful incidents. The same goes for these other communities. So there's outreach that we can do just in terms of our own experience that you're not alone.
Police killed the shooter, Army veteran Wade Michael Page, and investigators have linked him to the white supremacy movement. Eric Fussfield is legislative director for the Jewish advocacy organization B'nai B'rith. He says these hate groups pose a shared threat to both Sikhs and Jews.
We're not in a position where we can know exactly where the next threat will come from. But we are in a position to know when we see signs of danger that need to be confronted. When we see an escalation of hostile rhetoric directed at any minority group, we ourselves need to speak out against it. And we need to encourage our public officials to do the same.
Both Sikhism and Judaism are rich with tradition and symbol. And leaders like Singh hope this new spirit of solidarity will break down prejudice.
I feel that the education is very important. And also, in addition, it's very important to challenge some of the notions that we all carry. Sometimes we don't confront them. We don't bring them out to see whether I'm prejudiced against a group or not. So that kind of challenge needs to be there for all of us.
It is a shared suffering and a shared hope that have brought together these two very disparate religious communities. And now, both Jewish and Sikh leaders hope a push for greater understanding will reduce the possibility of a tragedy like this from happening in the future. This is Stephen Fee for JN1 in Washington.